Have you ever spent hours doing crunches and planks, hoping to finally see those abs peek through? You're definitely not alone. I remember when I used to do 500 sit-ups every single day, absolutely convinced that if I just worked hard enough, my belly fat would magically disappear. 3 months later, staring at myself in the mirror, I realized something shocking. Nothing had changed, not even a little bit. But here's what's really going to blow your mind. That belief we've all held onto, that doing ab exercises will burn belly fat, might be completely wrong. A groundbreaking study from the University of Illinois tracked people who did only abdominal exercises for 6 weeks straight. The results were absolutely devastating. Their belly fat reduction averaged just 0.3 centimeters. Meanwhile, the group that combined full body workouts with proper nutrition saw an average reduction of 4.2 centimeters. That's 14 times more effective. So what's really going on here? Why have we been lied to about spot reduction for so long? The truth is, our bodies simply don't work the way we thought they did. UCLA's fat metabolism research team discovered something that changes everything. When you exercise a specific muscle group, your body doesn't preferentially burn fat from that exact area. It's physiologically impossible. Think about it logically. If spot reduction actually worked, then chewing gum would eliminate double chins, and fidgeting would make your fingers skinny. But that's not how our bodies operate. Fat loss happens systemically, throughout your entire body, following a pattern that's largely determined by your genetics and hormones. The real shocker comes from Harvard Medical School's Metabolic Research Division. They conducted a massive 12-week study, with 500 participants divided into 3 groups. Group 1 did only abdominal exercises. Group 2 did only cardio. Group 3 combined both approaches. The results were absolutely mind-blowing. The ab-only group lost a measly 2% of their visceral fat. The cardio-only group lost 23%. But the combination group? They lost an incredible 38% of their belly fat. This wasn't just about appearance either. They measured actual dangerous visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your organs and increases disease risk. But why does this happen? The answer lies in something called caloric deficit and metabolic efficiency. Your body burns fat when you consume fewer calories than you expend. Here's the problem with ab exercises. 100 crunches burn roughly 35 calories. That's less than half an apple. Compare that to 30 minutes of brisk walking, which burns about 200 calories, or swimming, which can torch over 300 calories. Even more important is what happens after your workout. Cardiovascular exercise creates something called the afterburn effect. Your metabolism stays elevated for hours after you finish exercising. Research from Copenhagen University shows that high-intensity interval training can keep your metabolic rate 15% higher for up to 14 hours post-workout. Flat exercises? They create virtually no afterburn effect. There's another crucial factor we need to discuss. Muscle mass and metabolic rate are directly connected. Every kilogram of muscle tissue burns approximately 30 calories per day just existing. But here's the thing about ab muscles. They're relatively small compared to your legs, back, and chest. Building significant muscle mass through ab exercises alone is nearly impossible. Instead, compound movements like squats, deadlifts, and push-ups engage multiple large muscle groups simultaneously. The University of Bath conducted a fascinating experiment, comparing isolated ab work to full-body compound movements. Surprisingly, the compound movement group actually developed stronger, more defined abs than the group that focused exclusively on traditional ab exercises. This happens because compound movements require intense core stabilization throughout the entire movement. But here's where things get really interesting. Exercise alone, no matter how intense, can only take you so far. The Texas Obesity Research Center published data showing that exercise contributes roughly 20% to weight loss, while dietary changes account for 80%. This means you literally cannot out-exercise a bad diet. especially when it comes to belly fat. Belly fat has a particularly nasty relationship with insulin. When you eat refined carbohydrates or sugar, your blood glucose spikes rapidly. Your pancreas responds by flooding your system with insulin to manage this glucose. But insulin is essentially a storage hormone, and it has a special preference for storing fat around your midsection. Stanford Medical School research shows that 86% of people with insulin resistance develop abdominal obesity. So what actually works? First, you need to create a sustainable caloric deficit. Aim for 300 to 500 calories below your maintenance level. This allows for steady fat loss without triggering your body's starvation response, which would slow your metabolism and make you miserable. Second, prioritize protein intake. Aim for 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight daily. Protein not only preserves muscle mass during weight loss, but also increases satiety and has a high thermic effect. Harvard School of Public Health found that people following higher protein diets lost 45% more belly fat than those eating standard protein amounts. Third, design your exercise program strategically. 3 days per week of cardiovascular exercise, focusing on moderate to high intensity for 30 to 45 minutes. 2 days per week of strength training, emphasizing compound movements that work multiple muscle groups. Your ab work should be the cherry on top, not the foundation. Fourth, sleep becomes absolutely critical. Sleep deprivation increases cortisol production, which directly promotes abdominal fat storage. The Chicago Sleep Research Center found that people sleeping less than 5 hours nightly had 32% more belly fat than those getting 7 to 8 hours. Fifth, manage your stress levels. Chronic stress elevates cortisol consistently, creating a hormonal environment that favors fat storage around your midsection. UCLA Medical Center research demonstrated that 8 weeks of meditation reduced visceral fat by 27% compared to control groups. Now, let's address some important considerations. Rapid weight loss often leads to rebound weight gain. Sustainable fat loss happens at 0.5 to 1 kilogram per week. Genetics also play a significant role. Some people are genetically predisposed to store fat in their abdominal region, and age-related metabolic slowdown makes the process more challenging over time. For women, hormonal fluctuations during menstrual cycles and menopause significantly impact fat distribution. Declining estrogen levels tend to increase abdominal fat accumulation. This requires extra patience and consistency with your approach. The National Weight Control Registry analyzed over 5,000 successful weight loss cases. 90% combined dietary changes with exercise, invested at least 6 months in the process, and 78% weighed themselves daily, while 62% maintained over 1 hour of daily physical activity. Does this mean ab exercises are completely useless? Absolutely not. Core strengthening improves posture, reduces back pain, risk, and enhances overall functional movement. Once you've reduced your overall body fat percentage, targeted ab work will help define and sculpt your midsection. The key is understanding the proper sequence and priorities. Here's your practical action plan. Weeks 1 through 4. Focus primarily on dietary improvements. Eliminate processed foods and added sugars. Emphasize whole grains, vegetables, and lean proteins. Begin with 3 weekly cardio sessions of 30 minutes each. Weeks 5 through 8. Add 2 weekly strength training sessions featuring compound movements. You can include some ab work now, but limit it to 20% of your total exercise time. Focus on movements that challenge your entire core, not just surface muscles. From week 9 onward, consider adding 1 to 2 high-intensity interval sessions weekly. These are incredibly effective for fat burning and time efficient. Try 30 seconds of maximum effort, followed by 90 seconds of recovery, repeated 8 to 10 times. Remember, visible changes typically require 3 months of consistent effort. Don't rely solely on scale weight, which can be misleading as you build muscle and lose fat simultaneously. Take measurements, progress photos, and pay attention to how your clothes fit. The bottom line is this: you cannot spot reduced belly fat through ab exercises alone. But with proper nutrition, strategic exercise programming, adequate sleep, and stress management, you absolutely can achieve the results you want. The science is clear, and the methods are proven. Now it's time to take action. If this video helped clarify things for you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more evidence-based fitness content. Your transformation journey starts today.